Okay, we'll quickly revise what we did, and then let's get started for this week. So yeah, so uh, this week we'll do some of the things which are common in industry where you sort of authenticate into a service and um, get the data. For example, I have created a Google Calendar, and then you should be able to access it via API, and we should be able to understand what does that API do, how does it work, what is the authentication mechanism, and then similarly, there is also Gmail accessing, so you can send mail, read mail through the libraries, and what happens in the backend, and how, as a developers, how you need to think about it and then jump to coding. So that is what we are trying to do. So that is what we will do in this week. So just to revise what we did so far. Um, Last week we studied about like exceptions, prompt engineering, how to ask the GPTs in a formatted structure so that you don't deviate from your goal, because when you start talking to it, it's like chit chatting. It will take you to different places, and then out of curiosity you'll just dig deeper, and your ways get lost. So that is what prompt engineering helps us to do. So remember, there are like few items in prompt engineering. One is what you want, that is the task. Second thing is some examples, and the role that you want ChatGPT or any of the GPTs to play. So role is important because for every role it will give different outputs, and then how to take those inputs and then use different ChatGPTs to refine them, and to generate codes use different GPTs. So that is what we did in prompt engineering. And we looked at APIs, RESTful APIs, and we also try to fetch weather data from API. So you might have tried it, and now you know what is a key the key that we generate on the website, right? So generally, when you log into an application, it asks for username and password, right? So that is one of the authentication. So there are several different types of authentication. One of the authentication is key-based authentications, where you don't actually share your username and password, but you go to the service provider, which we did on Weather Stack API, I think. So we logged into that, and then we created a key. So while logging in, we created a username or a user in that particular service, and out of that we generated a key. So this key enables the other services, which are clients, which are like our Python programs, to we didn't type in our username and password in our code, right? So that is what we call as like key-based authentication. So this helps us to secure our username and password. So that is what we did in APIs, and then we fetched the data. We parsed it. We got the output in terms of dictionary, and then we found out like how to fetch the data, going step by step or level by level. So okay, that is what we did, and yeah, and then in last class we looked at how to create a project structure. I also showed you one of the vibe coding tools, which is lovable.dev. So there are several tools like that. So you can create an application even if you are a non-coder, but if you do not know the high-level design and the low-level design, you won't be able to scale it and add features easily, and then um, uh, deploy an app in a way that it is like it has the quality that is expected at industry level. And in case the API or the apps that you're developing, it is big enough, one person won't be able to do everything. So you might be having, say for example, you want to collect blood samples, and there is and do some analysis. So if there is an expert who can understand what these blood samples are, what are the different parameters, and so on, that particular person will be an expert in that area. And whatever, if you do not know and you're trying to create an app which does something which with blood samples, so you won't have an edge with the other guy who is having the domain knowledge, right? So domain knowledge is one of the important things. So that is what this brings you, like high level design and low level design. Uh, it will help you to understand that particular domain knowledge, and gain that domain knowledge and then do it. So for everything that we are trying to do, so what we are trying to do is we understand how it works, and then writing the code related to this. So writing code is, as you know now, it's easy part, generating code, and then you need to stitch it together. So that's what we are trying to do so far. So in today's class, we will understand about authentication. So and how it works, and then we'll try to probably send a mail or access calendar or something like that. And that is one thing. And I was requesting you guys to do this part, which is like create a repository, and then uh, you know uh, create a folder structure, and then put in some code here, and send a request to uh, the main branch. Okay, so please do this, so you'll have an hands-on experience on uh, how people work in teams. Okay, so if you haven't done, please try to do it. It doesn't take more than 1 hour if you just sit and focus on it. Okay. So, okay, let us understand different kinds of services today, like what Google does, and calendar, and this one, mails. Okay. So, Google is a big company, right? So, what they have is they have several services, say service one, service two, and so on. So, each of these services, they have some endpoints. So, these endpoints you can access through APIs, so that you can add and delete the events in calendars, and send the mail in this one, Gmail, and things like that. So we saw in one of our um, code where we were getting the data from API, we created a key. So one of the authentication architectures is called as OAuth, and currently we are using 2.0 version, so it's called OAuth 2.0. So how it works internally, you can read it later, but I'll give you some examples so that give you the context so that you remember what it is. So we use it almost in our day-to-day life. For example, say you have created a um, account on, say, Udemy, or some other website. Okay, so where you want to so when you create an while you are creating an account in Udemy, so it also has options that log in through Google or Facebook or so on, right? So when you click on Google, so you get a prompt saying authenticate or not. So this is called as consent. So Google does not send username and password to this particular this one. So what it does is uh, it first you get the consent, and second what it does is it creates some sort of key which is similar to what we saw before, and shares that key with Udemy. So that is a key exchange part. So now Google account, your account here, one of the services which is Google mail services, or Google account services, has a link to Udemy. right? So this works through keys. So that happens in the backend. So this is so there are different things. For example, your key needs to get refreshed every time. So it is called a refresh key, and you have one key to there is one constant key and things like that. So internally, you don't need to like remember everything, but you just need to know the flow, how it works. So now you know that a service can be accessed through the keys, not just the username and password. Okay. So once you understand it and go on, you can simply go on and ask like, how do I access Google Calendar? Okay, through the code. So I have done it, but I'll just demo it once here. I am writing code in Python to access Google Calendar. Um, Give me clear steps. Um, Clear steps. Okay, this is good enough. So it tells some steps, and now we can try to do that. Okay, so create a Cloud project, yeah, and enable API. So I'll show you what this guy means. Where is that? So I have one more account just for teaching. So this is called Bits and Bytes, something like that. So when you land into Google Cloud page, Google Cloud Console. So this is what it means on link on the link. So and then you see a lot of things here, and you can go to this part, and there are like there are so many services that Google gives, and you can this is Google Cloud page. So let me search for Google APIs. I'm done in another screen. So if you go there, if you click here, so you'll have APIs and services. Okay. So you can create your own API here, library, and then you can go and search here for calendar. So you can see that there is Google Calendar API, and then think of each of these APIs are as services, and click on that, and then you need to enable that service. For example, I have already enabled, so there will be like a button where you can enable and disable. So, and then let us try to create credentials. So when you try to do like this, what happens is like you lose the context. So because he'll jump into different pages. So come back and see what we are searching for. We've done new project, clear and enable part. Okay. And then API services credentials tab, and then create credentials OAuth client ID. Okay. So that is what we are here. Okay. OAuth client and app name and support. Not required. We can skip this step and let us see a Chrome extension web application. I hope this is web application because that doesn't belong to anything. Web application name, Python code. These are the steps that you need to do. So just copy this and see there. Cancel download. There is some credentials. Okay, done. So now let us, we have followed the steps. That is, so this is a new thing for you, right? So this is how you need to like go step by step. And if it doesn't work, come back and fix that. So if it works in the first go, uh, it generally it means like it won't work most of the times. So when it happens, it's like you will learn more things about like how things work. So if you face an error or if you are unable to do it in first go, so it's good for us for developers so that we learn and keep doing this in an iterative way. Okay. So that is what is engineering means. Like there is an iteration for every step. Okay. So did we do this? Okay. Create credentials, auth ID, and just okay. We have to do desktop app. Okay. And credentials dot JSON. Okay. Where was it? See, this is what desktop. Credential. Yeah. Auth 2.0 Python code AI. Let us. I think we have already done this. Yeah, it's already there. Web application. Let us see if it we can modify it to something else. Okay, let us try with this and then let's see if it works or not. Okay. So I have got credential.json, which is nothing but a JSON file which we are familiar now. And then you can probably just do format document. You can see right click and if you do format document, it will give you like a readable sort of a pretty printed JSON file. You can see project ID, URL, and so on. Okay. So these are the secrets. So this is your credential file. Okay. So let me just copy this here. I wanted to copy this here. Or let me, okay, let it be here. We can fix it later. And then let us get back to our instructions here. So let me copy this. So what it is telling is, we are already aware of pip install, right? Because we are trying to download some libraries which support this sort of authentication. Okay, is this, okay, this is cursor. Let us go to our Copilot. Where is the code? Yeah, okay, I'm going to cal.pip or something like so. So this is where I'll write code. Let me just install this. Okay. So if you do it in agent mode, it will automatically install, but we don't want to do that at this moment. This is a terminal. So I have copied what it's already there and paste it here. Let us, okay, it's not, I think it's pick 3. It's downloading the libraries that is required. Once it's done, let us just copy this code, this particular code, credentials install inside. Okay, just glance through the code every time you pick up. So get Google Calendar events. That's the function, and we are calling it here. Okay, let us just try to run it without anything, so that we understand what are the errors, and then we will get to this get to a point where we can access the calendar. Okay. So you can see that there is no file such credentials.json and these things. So let us try to copy that file, where if we download it as credentials. Oh, where did I download? Yeah, let me open it. Okay, let me just copy paste the content. Copy the content. Let's create credentials.json. JSON. So I'm going to paste whatever I did. You can see that here there is no username and password, right? That is what that particular authentication architecture helps you to achieve. Once we have this, let us try to run it again and let's see if it works. Yeah, um, I'll just show you what is happening. When I click this, so this is a client, and so I got a pop-up. Um, this okay, redirect URI mismatch and something like this. So this I currently at this moment I do not know what exactly this means. Of course, I know a hint for redirect to URI mismatch and all these things. So it says you can't sign in because this app sent invalid request. You can try again later. Contact developer. Your developer has this um, something like this. Okay, so let us take this and get back to our GPT. Uh, yeah, let us go to our code. That's yeah better. Uh, Getting below error, and we can give more information, saying you are a something, right? So that will provide that error as well, so that it can help us uh, better. Now, at this moment, you are trying to like debug. You understood what these things are because we created it live, and then you can see that okay, this is because your match registered on okay. So credentials, edit, cancel credentials, localhost. So what it is trying to do is, okay, I'll just show you what I have done so far. I'll look at your client ID and client ID JSON. Okay. This is one of our clients. So there's one parameter here. Add authorize redirect URLs. Okay. Let us see if it's the same thing that we are trying to do. Let's go to Windows. Okay. So let's take this authorized. This is nothing but your local server. So that is what it means. Okay. Localhost is your laptop. Use update the script and run local server that uses as default. Okay. Ensure install app upload and then all delete all. Okay, let us just do this step and come back. So in fact, redirect to save and let us download the JSON because we have modified that and the content. Paste it here. Let me format the document. You can see that there is one redirect URIs that is appearing here. Okay. Let us try again. So this is, let me save this. Okay. Okay. Let me abort it. So Control C will abort it, right? And then let us try it again. Okay. I am getting the same error. I'll show you on this one. Access is blocked. This app is request is and you are a mismatch. Again, same thing. Okay, let us ask GPT to help us to debug. In fact, you can sit and try. If you're an experienced engineer, you can sit and get it done. But I don't want to like do it myself and show the end of the exercise because you'll miss on these things. So okay, I did that. Delete old token.json. Update the script. Install workflow. Let us copy. Put it snippet to clarity for clarity. Okay. So redirect the local testing install. Okay. We are deploying the script. So there's some. So should I edit name script? No, you don't need to create a new server. So what it is telling is, so when you try to you're trying to connect Google APIs, right? So it needs somebody as a server to communicate. So it's like I was giving an example of Udemy, right? Udemy is a server, so it wants to exchange the keys. So since there is in our redirect URIs, we don't have any service that is running on this particular port at this moment. Okay, so that is what it is telling that you need a local server that is running here. So yeah, so I try to clarify whether do I need to run the local server in a different port. Okay, So it is expecting a service to be running. Service is nothing but it's like a program which is running infinitely until you kill it, just like browser. Until you close it, it does not get closed, right? So and it works on network, which is on a port 8080. So this is a protocol which is HTTP. So this is it opens up HTTP. It's open support at 8080 and works with this particular protocol. It is similar to browser what we are trying to do here. Okay, and do not get panicked when things don't work. So what you need to do is you need to follow the steps and then try to do so. That is what I'm trying to do here. So by the way, this is the first time I'm accessing a calendar via the API. Of course, I have access to many other services, but the pattern is same. Okay, so I wanted to show you a lot of errors, and that is the reason. This class is entirely for accessing Google Calendar. So if you're able to do this on your own, looking at this class and looking at the errors, you will get a fair idea about accessing any service. So that is the exercise we are trying to do. And okay, so it has updated the code. So you don't have to write code, right? So I'll take this way. Remove that code and then copy the fresh code, inserted. Okay. Let me glance at the code and see what is happening. What is the difference between the old code and the new code? So this was already there. Okay. So it has added the default scope. You don't have to like understand everything, but if there is a problem here, for example, scopes did not look into that much because we did not require because it's an optional thing. But it also gives a default scope, which is this. I think it should be sufficient. If there is an error, we'll look into that. So it added something called as installed app flow. So it is already in this particular library, and it must have, yeah, this is one of the places where it sort of creates a local server. Okay, so let us try to do it again. So now we have fixed one more thing, and let us try to run this. Let me save this and click on this. So I got one. Let me close this. I've got this pop-up now. Now you can see that there is no error. So now it says that choose an account to. This is like, okay. This is similarly what you generally do. This is the similar screen that you are like in Udemy or any other website. You try to go there and click on that, right? So it will ask like choose an account. So that is exactly what we are doing, but it's not a Udemy server or some other server, but it is our own server. So our own server where we have defined, if we have defined it in like redirect URL. So that's what this is. So this is successful or that at until we access the server. So it is now it will go to this. Okay, let us try to click on that. Now this is done and at this moment. So let us see if it works here. Okay, so I clicked OK, and then what? Okay, we are running the local server. So how how do you know it is running a local server? There are several ways. So let me just show you like for debugging and your own purpose. Let me just click on this to continue. Okay, choose an account. Sorry, choose an account. Okay. So when I click on this, okay, so it sort of um, it tries to generate a key with your application. Your application is nothing but this one. This is your current application, okay, a server that you are running. and then it tries to communicate with that. So you can see that how we are past one step where URI was not defined. We fixed that, and now it is telling access is blocked. So which means uh, authentication is successful, and authorization has some problem. So difference between authentication and authorization is quite simple. For example, you can log into your say any website, but you won't be able to see or operate like a different user, like an admin. So that is authorization. So for every resource, so there is a service, right? One is your service, which will take care of your logging in. So that is authentication. Second thing is you should be different users might have different resources to be accessed. For example, I have a Google account. You have a Google Mail account. You can log into Google services, Google Mail services, but I won't be able to access your mails, right? So that requires like authorization for that particular this one. So this is like high level this thing. For example, on your Linux, you can create multiple accounts, and you can tell that this is a root account and this is a different account, and you can also create groups, and you can enable rights to access resources files, right? So that is like similar to what is an authorization. So access to that particular resources is authorization. Authentication is nothing but just to logging in. So we are past authentication. So we are already there. So probably there is one more step. I don't know how many steps are remaining, but we are solving step by step. So access blocked. This is not completed Google verification purpose, process. Okay. So let us see how it request details. Okay, this is. I'll ask the GPT, and then let's see what Copilot. Um, I'm able to um, able to authenticate what looks like um, authorization is not successful. Getting below error, and let us try to give it some more information, which is developer information that we have got. With error details. So let me copy this. I can also say these are the codes that we were discussing in one of the classes. So 404 is not a page not found. I simulated 404, right? And if URL itself is not present, it will say I could not redirect. 403 is specifically for access denied. So let me go there. So 403 access. Thing. So just read through so that you understand what we are doing and where we are at the in this process. So we were able to authenticate, and this part maybe we okay, ensure the scope is under scopes already. Okay, test users and use Google Workspace and bypass verification for testing and so on. So let us try to look at this, double check the scopes in your matches this scope. Okay. So let us try to, we did not, okay, there is a scope here. If I remember, we skipped the scopes. So let us try to do something there. Let me click on Google console. Let's open here, drag it this side. This is what it has popped up. So now let us try to understand what it is asking us to do. So it wants us to modify or look at the scopes. So if you're testing app, personal use, set the user type to internal. Okay. Otherwise, yes. Let us go there. Auth consent screen. Okay. Let us go there. So we are trying to access APIs, and from API, and then this is where it is. So in this dashboard, you'll have probably clients. I hope that's okay. This is the client. Let me try to modify this client. Um, client ID, client secrets. Okay, let me get back to the steps. And user type. So, this is let's create a new client if it's let's create a application type. Okay, it was suggesting desktop app. Let us choose this and let me Python code AI 01. This is a new, I'm creating a new client so that I get that particular place where I can add the scopes. So okay, so you can download it later. Okay, but what is happening? Okay. Wait, add the scopes. Let me just take this. We have modified from web application um, to desktop. Okay, let's see if it works. Let us come back to credentials and let me just paste it here and see. I just wanted to compare these two things. So redirect URLs, it's localhost. So I'm going to change this to this, remove this web. Let me do Control C and run the program again. Yeah, the rewind. This for running the local control over the okay. I don't forward this at this moment. Let's see. So I again got the continue to Python AI. So we click this. Blocked again. Okay. Um, this is Okay, so I think it is something to do with the scopes now. So I was trying to modify the app type to desktop app, so that did not work. So let us look at this. So where do I find the scopes? Okay, let us see. Double check the scopes. Okay. I have not added any scopes. Uh, Give me snippet. They are the authentication relation. You need to add a required scope to project. Okay. Let us let us try to find out where the scopes are. I remember we saw the screen, but I need to look at that. There is some scope. Where is the scope? Data access. I don't remember the scopes. Okay. Let us try to take what is. So there are like a lot of scopes. So we'll just copy this scope. If it's available. This, add it to this. Okay. So I have added the scope now. So let's see. Let's see if this works. Builds process. Okay. So I've got the same screen to sign in, which is this. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, still okay. I think you should have access. Contact this. Okay, scopes are added, but it's not working. So perhaps so this calendar token dot yes. Okay, what is this token dot this path exists token dot json. Why token dot json? Okay. Instance user. Okay. Where is token dot json? Okay, there is one more token dot json here. Probably. Yeah, that's the problem. Mm. Okay, authentication, those version tokens. Okay, this file allows the script to reuse the tokens for subsequent API calls without requiring authentication. Authenticate again. Okay, token draw. Ensure running the script has current direct token or re-authenticate. If file is missing, check token dot yes, same. Add a permanent token versus save to file. Okay. Save. Okay, this is already there. Credentials. And you can just hover on the function to get some additional information. So you can see that this is path authorized user JSON file. Okay, option list of scopes to value is not full name. Okay, correct. Token dot JSON is it present here? Let me just create token dot JSON. If you still can't the files, delete an existing token. Okay. Saving token. But, let us try to understand what this does. So this is how you kind of need to debug. Okay, so um, explain this code. We'll get this working. So that's the goal of our um, today's session. But if it doesn't work, I'll make it work and then I'll show you how. But yeah, you want now because of these errors, you know, like what are the steps and what are the complexities of accessing the service that is hosted by a third party. So first you need to read the documentation and then step by step you need to proceed and do these things. Okay, so once you do this, you'll get idea about how these things work. Okay, so this code interacts with Google Fetch and display upcoming events. Okay, key components. Okay, they handles authentication, that is fine. This particular credential handling. So check exists in the current directory. If it exists, it loads user credentials from the file. Okay. If credentials are missing, if it exists, it loads users credentials from file. Okay. But I don't have any credentials. Local credentials. Oh, it should be content. Should be the content of uh, token.json. Okay, I think credit token.json is uh, this one. And let us see what is credentials.json. What should be content of yes. Think okay, credential content generated when you create auth client below this example. Look like okay. What's the difference between this and this then? Token is for refreshing. This file stores user successes and refresh tokens after authentication. Okay. Um, 7 days. Just to make sure. Um, JSON is here. Okay. Token dot JSON is there. Okay, let me just create token dot JSON. Okay, sorry. There. Okay, here. Expecting. Okay, that needs it. Okay, I'll debug this and it should be like now we are stuck at this token.json. So I'll debug this and explain it to you in next class. But yeah, try to create whatever we did in today's class. So ask GPT to like how do I access calendar? Repeat the exact same exercise. And yeah, if you're able to get this working, it's good. Yeah, usually you'll get stuck like this. So uh, we can see that there were several hurdles. Like we couldn't you know, authenticate, and then we did something, and then we were able to pass that hurdle, and so on, and then we generated the code, and then we modified the key and so on. So now we are stuck at a point where refresh keys are not getting generated. So I'm trying to look at what is this. So when you're stuck at this moment, so you go back to the basics. Basics is nothing but our OAuth authentication, and then read again and come back to this. Try to connect the dots and use that, and put that into code. So now I think you have got fair idea about how OAuth works. So first thing that we are trying to avoid is to stop giving the username and password, and then we are trying to generate the case. So the service provider where now we are using Google, so it is trying to make sure that you are the person who is doing all these things. So it gives this dashboard to manage your case. Okay, so you can create your own case, and okay, in order to once you have the keys, so you also need to sort of enable the services. For example, you should be able to access Google Calendar via the APIs. And also, there are some parameters in each of the clients. So this client is nothing but this is once you create here, and we are downloading this file, and we are copy pasting it in our project, right? So this is where it sort of recognizes that okay, this is a person or a program which is okay to be authenticated. So if you do not have this, we cannot authenticate. So if you have this much idea for now, it's good enough. But I'll try to solve this error or this hurdle, and then explain it in tomorrow's class. Okay. But yeah, this is the first time doing for Google Calendar. But yeah, I have used similar services elsewhere. So, but yeah, but do not get panics if something doesn't get it doesn't work, and do not try to find out shortcuts, because if you find shortcuts, for example, you might want to like disable the authentication itself, and that works for now. And then what happens is going forward, you will leave a security vulnerability, and then when you want to enable it, then you'll find new set of errors which are more difficult to solve. So do not find shortcuts. We'll get through this. No, it's not a big deal. So let us try to understand this, and then we will continue in tomorrow's class. Yeah, but try to do the exact same exercise. Try to read about OAuth and at least come till authentication point. Okay. So this service you can think of, for example, if you want to like scale this out, just like Udemy, you can create your own service, and this is how you'll have a Google account, and then you can enable that service. Okay, so that is what all the people who are having running the services, they communicate with other services using this OAuth. It's not a protocol; it's an authentication architecture. Okay. Yeah, try to do the exact same thing, because I started from scratch, because it's easy to like for me to do all these things again and then say that okay, this is how it works. But what it does is you won't have an idea about like what are the errors faced and how do you solve it and so on. So that is why I wanted to show you from the scratch and show the errors and then how to get past that. Okay, so we'll get past this. Don't worry. Okay, see you in tomorrow's class. Yeah. Okay, take care. See ya. Thanks for joining.